Okay, guys, we're back on the Bar Stories Project with our special guest, Nick Morello. Nick, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, man.
No, pleasure is all mine because I remember thinking to myself long before, we got together, I think it was on Instagram.
Yeah. Because actually, I remember seeing your last interview with Katie, and
Yeah.
I think I hit you up like Fireman or something like that, and you're like, "Nick, you want?" And I'm like, "Yeah, of course I want to be on."
The magic of Instagram. But long before that, I remember thinking to myself, I said, I got to get Nick Morello on the show. He's such a great guy. Nick is originally from Overland Park, Kansas, earned his bachelor's from Arizona State. He got a master's in finance and a JD from University of Arizona. And you have an interesting bar story.
Oh, yeah.
Really interesting. So you took the Arizona bar exam, which is a UBE state, in July 2020. And you took the California bar exam in October 2020. So, let's fast forward to the happy ending. You passed the California bar. So congratulations. What an achievement.
Thank you. Yeah.
But yeah, you experienced what I and pretty much all of the other guests on the show have experienced. So when you took the Arizona bar exam in July 2020, you didn't pass that, correct?
No. So kind of here's where it happens is I don't mean to sound like I'm throwing aside the Arizona bar or anything like that. But I happen to be in a unique position here where it wasn't exactly my main focus. My main focus at that point I knew was going to be on California. I had already made plans to move to LA here. I'm going to do that post-pandemic. Already have some opportunities lined up here. But when I went into that room, I kind of knew, all right, I'm not quite ready for this. I mean, I had already prepared quite a bit. I had already, I'll just even say, make like a lifestyle adjustment here. Like I started really eating a lot better, being a lot healthier, really planning toward the future. I wanted to, I was no longer a student at that point. I was a working professional. And so I started to make a much more lifestyle adjustment at that point. Even with that being said, going into the Arizona bar, I knew that I simply didn't have all the material down. I had done Barbary. I had done, I think, like 87% of the course. But even with that being said, I didn't feel like I had studied as much as maybe I possibly could. Was I fully grasping this here? Which we'll get more to that when I talk about the California bar. But I go into the day of the test, and so we sit down for the essay section. And I wouldn't say I blanked entirely, but I knew, oh shit, like there's stuff on here that I couldn't write as thoroughly in depth about here. For example, I know that the Crim Pro, I believe it was evidence essay, that was just a disorganized mess. I want to know what the person who was actually grading that, what they were thinking, like, what the hell is this guy talking about? Hearsay here, but then like exclusionary rules here, and what the hell's going on? And I left too blank.
Yeah, well, I had a similar experience, but I think you brought up a great point that I don't think that your story is that far off from a lot of people. I think that life happens, we're all human, and sometimes you're for many different reasons, you may be ill-equipped to go into battle. And for you to recognize that, it's very insightful that you were honest with yourself, and you can say to yourself right now, yeah, I wasn't fully prepared. And there's a lot to that. It's not like I didn't study enough. That might not be the only thing. It's like you had this life transition that you were focusing on, with going to California from Arizona, and that has an effect. And I had a very similar experience with blanking on the exam. But I'm just curious, I wasn't particularly close the first time I took it. Where were you? How far was your disparity between your score and the passing score?
Well, that's kind of an interesting point here. So getting out of there, I knew that I failed.
Okay.
just had known it, and I didn't pass. To this day, I still haven't actually checked my passing score. I know that it was not very good, especially leaving 2 essays blank and one just a disorganized mess was not a very good position to be in. I felt like I did pretty well on the PTs, as well as I felt like I did okay on MDs. Yeah.
So you never looked at your score?
Nope.
Well, that's really
not to this day. I could probably tell you it's probably like a 200.
Oh no, I mean, I think
maybe not that bad, but it's I can tell you it's probably not very good. And so I'm like, all right, I'm in a pretty unique position here where I wasn't sweating it too much, mainly because I knew, okay, we're on to California. We're on to California. I can't. I'm just not going to get super upset about Arizona.
Sure.
It wasn't the main goal there. And so I wasn't sweating it too much. I don't even really look at it too much as a failed attempt, so much as an opportunity to look at what I did wrong and make adjustments from that.
Based on your experience, I think that your experience with finding out the results probably is distinguishable from most people. So, most people are waiting for the results and they're hoping that they passed, and there's a lot riding on it. But from what you're telling me, the day the results came out, it was sort of not a huge issue for you, or was it?
Yeah, I learned, okay, the results come out. I go and I look at the passing list. And unsurprisingly, unfortunately, Nicholas Morello is not on that list. I was kind of expecting at that point.
Yeah.
One of my buddies had actually told me beforehand, like, look, there's going to be that like 2 month, 3 month, 4 month period where they're just grading and you're going to be floating in space. Well, did I pass? Did I not pass? And that simply did not happen for me, mainly because I was already focused on the next step. I think I took like 2 days off after taking it, and then it's like, okay, I need to hit the books here. I need to study for California now. Given that feeling of floating in space definitely did come after I had taken the California exam. I'm like, okay, well, I did this one right. I did not, maybe I should have chosen option C rather than D on this one here. There definitely was that floating in space there, but Arizona, that definitely, I just didn't feel it. I was much more focused on other things at that point.
That we have a lot of students here at the U of A that are interested in taking the California bar, and having taken a UBE bar and the California bar and passing the California bar, I think you're going to have a lot of great insight, because there's a lot of differences between those bar exams, correct? So, how did you prepare, and if you can highlight the distinctions so that our students that are looking to take that bar exam will have an idea?
Well, one of the big distinctions is obviously subject matter. So, for example, like Arizona had family law on the bar, California does not have family law on their bar, but they do have like California evidence. Well, that's pretty unique. I need to learn a new, almost completely new set of evidence here in order to study for this, in order to be able to write an essay about it. So subject matter wise, yes. Also formatting wise. And the essays, at least for mine, were in a much different format. Honestly, I thought it helped me out a lot, because one of the main issues with the Arizona bar was watching my time, especially writing those essays. Mm-hmm. And oh crap, we started with 3 hours, suddenly we're down to an hour and a half, and I only have 2 essays done. Like, this is not looking very good. Whereas the California one, it's 6 essays, and then they're split up into 6 1-hour sessions apiece, which I thought was extremely helpful for watching my time period and how much I have left to go, how I should be actually spacing my time out and allocating it in order to So that's definitely one. I will just simply say that the California bar was much tougher. There's simply a much higher standard. Even historically, it's one of the toughest in the country.
Definitely.
Pandemic, They did lower the passing score a little bit. It was 1,390 now, as opposed to like I want to say like 450 or something like that.
Yeah, 1450.
Yeah.
14
even with that being said, the California bar was tough, man. It was tough. And do you want me to talk about the study methods? I kind of.
Yeah, I was just about to sort of ask you a leading question about that. So yeah, what commercial bar prep companies or supplements did you use? Because a lot of I went to law school in California my first year, so I have a lot of friends that actually passed the bar along with you, and I talked to a lot of them during bar prep. We stayed friends, and they always mentioned how they had to use so many different additional supplements along with their bar prep companies, because I think the UBE states you generally just use your bar prep program, and maybe you can use something like Adaptive Bar on the side. But the California people seemed like they had so much more material that they felt like was required. So yeah, you can talk to us about what you use to prepare.
So for the Arizona one, I used Barbary, and I chose that option because I heard, okay, well, it's the best. It's also the most expensive, I'll just say that. And I think I kind of made the error of thinking, well, if it's the most expensive, it is the highest, it's my highest chance to succeed, which is definitely not the case. One of my main gripes with Barbary is I didn't feel like and I don't mean to put up Barbary on blast here too much. I don't mean to put like a Barbary sucks Themis rules blast here, but one of my biggest issues with Barbary is not teaching you how to write essays as much. I mean, okay, they give you the mock essays, but it's really I feel like they didn't kind of adequately prepare. They just kind of gave the we'll here, and okay, we'll do with it what you want. With Themis, one of my biggest pluses about that for studying for the California one, I also use Themis to use my MPRE, which I kind of use as a bouncing point. I'm okay, well, I did pretty well in the MPRE. Maybe I'll use the same program again. Maybe I'll come back to Themis here, and it'll be a lot better, which it was. I felt like Themis adequately showed you how, like, they broke down how to write these essays here. They did the essay writing workshops, which is both a review of the previous material as well as like actually showing you, well, you need to put this section here, and here's how to prepare your rule statement. Here's how to prepare your analysis here. I felt like they broke that down really well. One really huge step that I took, and while I was preparing for the Arizona one, I would review the outline for Barbary, and I might do that for like 45 minutes, an hour, what have you, half an hour, and then I would write the essay on the subject. Whereas I realized, okay, well, that's not a very good way to prepare. I feel like you're not applying your knowledge as well there. What I did to help prepare for the California bar, especially the California subjects, and making sure that I had that material down, was that I would actually do like the first, let's say they give you like five essays, 5 mock essays, or 6, let's go 6. I would do the first 5 as open book. And I'd be like, okay, well, here's this subject here. Well, let's look it up in the outline here. I can at least learn the material while I'm writing it and actually apply it to the problem at hand. And then when it came to like the 6th essay, I felt prepared enough that, all right, I know the material enough here. I'm going to take like kind of a leap of faith, I guess, and I'm going to write the essay completely closed book. So I felt like that really, really prepared me, and actually seeing how you apply the knowledge to what you're writing at hand. It's kind of like using your outline on a law school exam. You know, you can review all you want.
Did you use anything besides Themis when you prepared for California?
Yeah. So actually, they're over there right now. But I have some critical pass flashcards. I thought those were wonderful for preparing for the MD multiple choice ones, as well as even essays too.
Yeah.
So those were pretty helpful. I did do a little bit of JD advising. I wasn't trying to rely on it too much. I felt like that's a really flawed strategy.
So when you mentioned JD advising, you were talking about the predictions.
Yeah, so the predictions, I thought that was really flawed. I kind of realized even while starting for the Arizona one, these are not guaranteed to show up here. It might be something completely different. So I'll look them over. I'll study those topics really heavily, but I'm not gonna solely study for those topics there. I'm gonna look outside of just those. I feel like it's kind of, it's a much better strategy to know everything than
So
topics.
I just got some feedback from a student that they said they really like to hear about what it was like to find out that you passed the bar. So can you walk us through it? And I know that the California pass list is a little different than ours. So can you walk us through what that was like to find out that you had conquered this this tough bar exam and achieved this milestone, what that day was like?
Yeah, you know what? Maybe I should start like when I'm actually taking the exam, because at that point I was ready for it. It wasn't going to be a repeat of the Arizona one. I knew that going in there. I feel like I am rock solid. And the day of the test, there is a time to study and there's a time to pass. Here we are in passing time. And Chuck, I'm fired up, man. I am ready to go. I'm like, there's no way in hell that I'm failing this exam.
That's awesome.
I went to my dad's office to take it. That was a really quiet space for me. Definitely find a quiet spot for anyone watching this. Find a quiet spot where you're free from any distractions. I have a lot of animals at home, which was a big downer, or kind of a crutch, I should say, studying at first. But going back into my dad's office to study was super helpful because I could just get away from there. And so, you know what? First day, I realized, okay, well, I can't leave any essays blank. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, one after the other. Okay, go home, sleep. Make sure I get enough sleep at night. And next day, okay, MBE time, bam, we need to do this here. I believe it was the CPT, the California performance test, right after that. So even after I kind of had this huge confidence
boost
surge,
yeah,
I knew, all right, well, I have a fighting chance of passing this, but will I actually pass? Over time, it wears away a little bit.
Yeah.
And going back to what I said earlier, you definitely are floating in space for those like 2 or 3 months. Oh shit, did I pass? Did I not pass? Is it okay if I keep saying like, oh shit, and
100%. I
okay,
I don't know if you've
man,
watched
yeah.
the show, but we talk how real people talk, and I think it's better that way.
I saw your interview with Patrick, and I saw your interview with Katie, and I'm like, okay, well they're kind of light on the profanity here, but okay, it's just how I talk, man. So the day of the passing results come out. It's January 8th, and at that point, I'd kind of been trying to distract myself. I had actually been on like a huge Star Wars binge lately. I was reading like a bunch of books and watching a bunch of shows.
Mandalorian.
I'm nervous, man. One thing this is gonna sound so cheesy. If you want to get into Star Wars here a little bit, I was like, I'm watching Star Wars Rebels, and have you seen that? It's a really awesome show. One character worries about like whether or not he fails, or he's like failed to do the best or like failed in his task, and he expresses, you know what, I did the best I could, and in the end he actually succeeds. And seeing that was kind of like a clarity moment.
That ended up being your story.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, okay, you know what? I did the best I could, and I that can't be taken away from me at all. So 1 hour left, and I am super on edge. I'm in my computer room. I'm at my parents' place at this point. And my mom's also in the computer room here, and she's like, "Well, do you want me to leave the room when your results come out?" I'm like, "Yeah, I don't want to be a jerk to my mom, but I'm like, yeah, I kind of want to be just here, like just me." Okay, so it's like 8 minutes left, and I'm like, okay, it's really nervous. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and I was actually checking Facebook at the time. There's a Facebook group like for the California bar exam kids taking it, and
That's
so
cool.
yeah. So someone posts results are up. I'm like, okay, like click, and click. It's like, okay, where do you find it? I had to check back, and it's like, okay, well, check the little section that says like exam result.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it says pass. I'm like, holy fuck! I go running through my house. I go up and I hug my mom, and I was super ecstatic at that point. One of my really close friends, who's kind of like been a really good confidant to me, I had actually promised her that she would be the first one to know. And sorry, Alex, if you're watching this, I lied. You're the second person to know. But right afterward, I texted her, texted my dad. Then I text my friend group, and because everyone in my friend group had thought, okay, well, I'd failed the Arizona one. I did not tell. I only told the limited number of people that I was taking the California one. I didn't want to set myself up that like hype myself up to like up to other people too much.
Yeah, I get that totally. I did the same thing.
Yeah, I knew that there was a possibility that I won't pass this year. And so they're all really excited. They're like, one person's like, what? Like, what?
Didn't even know you took it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I'm like, okay, well, yeah, I'm a California lawyer now.
Dude, that's awesome.
Yeah, so it was definitely a great feeling. We went and we got sushi. Well, actually, we took home sushi.
Yeah.
Close now, but it was definitely a great feeling. I'm like, and I'll just say this: anyone who's planning on taking it, there is an expectation for you to go out and I'll just say go on a party afterward. Maybe do something next day, like go on like a mini vacation or something.
Yeah.
I did that for Arizona, and I did not do that for California. I just kind of sat at home. I think I read some books to celebrate, which I felt was a much more better celebration. Don't feel obligated to go
wild. Yeah.
But after you're done with the bar, I mean, take it easy. Heck, go take a nap, read a book, watch Netflix, watch a movie or whatever have you, and that can be your way to celebrate. Maybe have a beer while you're doing it. I don't know.
What an amazing story, man, and a lot of parallels. Listening to you talk, as far as how you were feeling, how you approach things, I can say very similar experience that I had with having to take the bar 3 times. But what a achievement, because that bar is very comprehensive. It's very difficult, and you were able to pull it off. And I love how you described your feeling of going into it. I feel like the first 2 times that I failed, my true feelings inside were like, it was always a toss-up. Like, we'll see how this goes. And I was super nervous and had a lot of anxiety about it. And the 3rd time, I was just calm, and I said, I'm prepared. And even if there's something that comes at me and that I don't understand, I'm just gonna push through it. There was nothing that was gonna really faze me, because I think I had a similar experience previous bar exams where I I got stumped and I just totally like lost focus, and that affected my performance on, other sections. And this time, the time that I passed, I got essays that I wasn't really sure about, but I had enough practice and experience and training that I was still able to get through it. And I think that mindset is so important. That mindset of you've done everything you could to prepare, and now it's just time to execute. And I think you had mastered that at that point, from what I gathered.
Let me ask you this about your personal. Did you do it remotely or did you do it in person when you did that?
My third bar exam that I passed, it was a remote exam. It was
for sure.
The same month. I think it was the same day that you took yours.
Yeah.
October
I think it was like
6th.
October 6th or something
Yeah,
like that.
Yeah, I just know from so many of my my first year classmates passed that bar exam in California. So I talked to a lot of them about it, and I pretty much pieced together that we actually took it on the same day. But yeah, I was remote, and things worked out for me because there was a lot of speculation about how the remote exam would be on everyone's part. It was the first, it was unprecedented. I was like, okay, it's time to take it. So whatever, I don't care how they give it, I need to take it. But it ended up, there were a lot of benefits, I think. I had just got a new house, and I made, while I was, thank you, my first one. So while I was, looking with my buddy, who's my realtor also, we were looking for a place, and I knew that this was the house I was going to take the bar exam in. So the deal breaker of it all was like, this place has to be quiet. It has to be a quiet place. And then I found a place that was within the price range that was quiet. And I'm like, this is the place where I'm going to take the bar. So not only is it the place where I'm preparing for the bar, but it ended up being the place where I'm taking the bar. That was so helpful in so many ways, because when you go into the bar exam and there's hundreds of people there and you have to make arrangements for travel and logistics and all that, that just adds to that event being so stressful. And to be able to wake up,
that's what I was asking.
To be able to wake up, I think that helped me. It wasn't the only thing that helped, but it certainly helped a lot. It helped me stay in that mindset of like, this is where you've been training. This is where and it gave me more confidence, and it ended up working out really well. I had no technical issues or anything. So there was definitely benefits to that remote exam. I don't know how you felt about it.
I actually really like the remote setup. You know what? Taking the Arizona one during COVID, I think they did a pretty good job of like spacing us out and making sure everyone had like a mask or like the shield on. I don't mean like bash on or anything like that too much, but there was a girl with just a shield on sitting right behind me. I'm kind of like paranoid, like, is this enough? You had to submit like an affidavit that's saying I haven't had COVID or anything like that. They took your temperature before you got in there. But kind of being paranoid about that too, and just having that whole situation on your mind. One thing that was kind of just, I guess, like added to the whole experience, like you said, was the logistics of it. Okay, well, how am I getting up there? I'm gonna need a hotel room here. Will there be hotel rooms available? How far are they away from the convention center? I remember having to, it was like during lunch break. It was late to lunch break, and I had to run. I had to drop something off in my hotel room. I think it was like a phone or something like that. Before, and I'm like, okay, well, am I gonna have enough time? Which a lot more than enough time, but that just kind of adds to the situation there. Whereas taking it remotely, it's like, okay, it's my dad's office. I should say there's an empty office right next to his office. There's nothing here to distract me. If someone comes along, it's pretty soundproof pretty well, so there's no worry about that. If I need to drop something off, his office door, I put my phone on, put it on his desk. Bathroom's right there. I don't have to like worry about that situation. What I was a little bit paranoid though was that they're gonna, for some reason, like see me like glance off screen or something like that. Think I'm cheating or something like that, which from the sound of it, that really didn't happen. I know they had some issues with that, like the software sense that you were not there, or that there was interference in the room or something like that. I'll just simply say it seemed to happen on to minority students a lot more than it did for white students. But that was probably my biggest concern there. Oh, and making sure that your exam was uploaded in time. In between, actually, I think after the first day, I don't know. I'm wondering if she was for real about this or if she was joking around or not. They say, okay, after you're done with the section here, after you're done with the essay, your performance test, upload it, and don't close your software off unless it is completely uploaded. So I was super making sure not to do that. Someone posted in the Facebook group, like, hey, I exited out before it was completely uploaded, and I called the tech support, and they told me to sign up for the February bar because my exam has been compromised here. I'm like, no, like, I was wondering, did she say that as some sort of weird joke, or that really happened? Which, from the sound of it, really did happen to quite a few people. So there are those issues, but I prefer the remote one.
Yeah.
One. It was so much easier, or
So,
like, so much simpler, I should say.
Yeah, what's next for you? I mean, what field of law are you planning to go into?
Cannabis law.
Awesome. We need more of that.
Yeah, you know, with it becoming legal here in Arizona.
Yeah. Perfect timing.
Yeah. You know, so I've been working with an attorney here in town. I've kind of like his quasi law clerk in a way, and just kind of building experience with that. There's another attorney that is out in Santa Monica that I actually got in really good contact with. That's another advice I would have to anyone watching this, whether you're in law school, whether you have really recently exited, whether you're thinking about going to law school, is definitely network. I got involved with LA County Bar Association, which in turn sort of, after a chain of connections, led me to this guy in Santa Monica who does a lot of cannabis law, a lot of cannabis regulation, and he's built a really successful practice off it. So I'm gonna be working remotely with him for right now. Maybe it'll lead to something more permanent in the future once I'm actually able to move out to the city. Right now I'm still in Arizona, still at my parents' place, but still able to work remotely. So there's that. Looking forward to getting sworn in. Once pandemic ends, I'm actually planning on taking a little trip up here to San Francisco to go visit the friend that I was talking about earlier, who I said was actually the second person that I told I passed the bar to. Maybe go to a Giants game if they're hopefully open. I lean more on the Dodgers side of things. Noise are no end. But I promised her, you know, tickets are on me. I will wear some San Francisco Giants gear here, and I won't be that guy at the park who is supporting the rival team.
Yeah, it's quite a rivalry, let me tell you.
Oh yeah,
Nick,
yeah.
what a great story, and I think it's going to benefit a lot of our students. It's a story of triumph, and I really like that Star Wars reference because that truly encapsulated your story. Like, have faith because you did the best that you could, and you should be very proud. I hope you know your family and all your friends are proud. It's quite an achievement, especially. It's not easy to fail an exam, regardless of the jurisdiction, and then go back and face that adversity again. So that it's quite an achievement. All right, guys, stay safe, stay cool. Thanks, Nick, for joining us this week, and
Thanks, Chuck.
we'll see you on the next episode. The Bar Stories Project is out.
We hope you've enjoyed this episode. Be sure to like and subscribe to the Bar Stories Project's YouTube channel so that you don't miss out on any new content. The Bar Stories Project is brought to you by creator and executive producer Chuck Bonazza, associate producer Patrick Ryan, original music by Justin St. John and Christian Savage. Join us next time on the Bar Stories Project.